Growing up in the island of Mindanao, I've always known it to be a land of promise, but now transformed into beautiful realities. I'm Art Bongcato, and I'm here at the Sea of Clouds along the Bukidnon Davao Road. I'm about to start a road trip around the beautiful island of Mindanao. For our first trip, we will be off to the beautiful island of Camiguin. We will be traveling to the province of Bukidnon, where we will stop to have lunch, then proceed to Cagayan de Oro City, where we will be staying overnight for an early RT-PCR test in the morning before proceeding to Balingon Port in Misamis Oriental, where we will be taking a 2-hour ferry ride to Camiguin. Welcome to the first ever journey of Mindanao Roadtrip with Art. The province launched its Clean Camiguin campaign composed of programs and systems that aim to ensure the safety of communities, stakeholders, and travelers to the island in the new normal. Let's all be responsible travelers. Let's wear a mask, wash our hands, and practice social distancing. Our feature of Camiguin will be in 3 parts, from its natural sights and attractions to its heritage and culture and food trip around the island. For our first episode, let's experience the natural charm of the island. Our first road trip, our northern Mindanao road trip, culminates in this beautiful island of Camiguin. Camiguin, which is the second smallest island province in the Philippines and shaped by 4 groups of volcanoes, is packed with abundant resources, expansive coastlines, and fertile soils, believed to produce the sweetest lanzones in the land. The province is truly blessed with abundant experiences like waterfalls, beaches, hot and cold springs, flora and fauna that are endemic to the island. Today, Camiguin remains very idyllic, pristine in many parts, and rustic all over the island. It's as if time has stopped. It's 7 o'clock in the morning and the world seems to be very quiet, except for the singing and symphony of nature with the rustling Tuasan Falls, with its 20-meter dip that ends up in my most favorite part of the area, turquoise water. The Santo Niño Cold Spring Resort is a catchment of fresh waters from Mount Mambahao. Locals and travelers love to come here to refresh and rejuvenate themselves. Cold mineral water, it is. Now enjoying the cold spring, really fresh water from the mountains, and it's really cold, and I'm taking a dip. Cagayan Falls at 78 meters is the highest among 3 waterfalls in the island of Camiguin. This is a popular destination in this capital town of Mambahao. Like Tuasan Falls, a visit to Katibawasan always gives a refreshing experience, a great energy boost and calming presence. It's a very windy morning, and we're enjoying the captivating view of the mountain ranges of Camiguin. Behind me is Mount Hibok-Hibok, the remaining active volcano of the island at 1,250 meters above sea level. And across it is Mount Timpoong, and both protected areas are of high conservation importance as recognized by the ASEAN Biodiversity Center and declared as one of 8 ASEAN Heritage Parks in the Philippines. The Mount Timpoong and Hibok-Hibok Natural Monument is a heritage park with endemic birds, amphibians, rodents, medicinal plants, rattan, and ferns. And in addition, this is home to 81 species of butterflies, 18 of which are endemic. Divers celebrate Camiguin's underwater as a unique and wonderful experience. There are 30 dive sites scattered around the province, each a testimony to the island's biodiversity. It's a beautiful morning, and we're here at the Black Beach Divers and Beach House Resort, and I'm joined by the proprietor and manager of both properties, Mr. Axel Brody. Camiguin is such a beautiful place, and they say it's more beautiful underwater. And I read somewhere that Camiguin is so much underrated when it comes to diving. Can you probably like share with us what that means with your experience here?
Yeah, from my experience here, as I told you earlier, I was baptized here as a diver. I started my open water course here, and one of the last sentences my instructor gave to me when I got certified was, "Axel, I'm very sorry to say, but from now on you are spoiled." And he was so right. It is really, it's not only that we have fantastic reefs here, pristine coral, whatever. Dive sites like the old volcano dive site with the really bizarre rock formations and everything, they are pretty unique. We have right in Yambing, next to the ferry terminal in front of Koma Resort, there's a dive site that is called Gypsy Rover.
Okay.
And this is really world-class muck dive. I think it's comparable to world-famous muck dive sites like Lambe Street. It's you can find almost everything over there. You have blue ring octopus, mimic octopus, all kinds of frogfishes, fairy frogfish, and so on. And really for macro lovers, it's an Eldorado. So we have in Old Volcano, this is the site where the lava from the eruption in 1871 ran into the water. And it has built a really bizarre and very, very beautiful underwater world with big pillars and since it's a wall, there are these big Gorgony fans. If you're lucky and you have good eyes, you can find pygmy seahorses there over and over. It's really, really beautiful. And last time I dove there, we had a really nice experience with the school of eagle rays.
Okay.
And it was awesome to see. They swim almost against the wall, and then in the last moment they turned back, looping. It was beautiful. It was really, really awesome. My most favorite dive site is just out here, straight out here, direction of Bohol. It still belongs to White Island. This is White Island Black Forest.
White Island Black Forest.
Yes. Black Forest because of big bushes of black coral down there, which are quite rare. It's super beautiful. The whole dive site looks more like a beautifully arranged Japanese garden.
Oh, wonderful.
With sandy bottom and then these.
It's arranged by nature.
Yes, and it's fantastic. Big schools of fish since it's a sanctuary, so no fishing allowed. We have big schools of fish there, jackfish, sweetlet, goannas.
You mentioned that you learned diving in a span of 3 months from being a novice to becoming a master. So what drove you to do that? And in Camiguin?
Yeah, it was that I came here for the first time in 2015. For me, it was a complete new experience here, and I also have to confess that I immediately fell in love with this island and with the people. When I went back after 17 days as a freshly certified open water diver, I have to confess, I was in tears. I was crying. I didn't want to leave.
So, I'm sure you have a special role here, especially your small community of dive shops and dive operators here in sustaining what you see. So, is there, are you all in a united front to protect Camiguin as a dive destination?
It could be more.
It could be more.
Like this.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Especially through the caused by the pandemic, the activities have been lowered a little bit more. We had just recently some cleanups together with the DENR and PNP.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, of course. Now we are closed for 14 months of the dive shop. So
should be some sort of a renewal happening on the rocket.
Yeah, coral-wise, it was really good.
But you see, the leadership here is also serious about enforcing the law and rules and regulations. So I think it's a good opportunity for your team also to piggyback on, like to rely on the support of the authorities. So if you're, this pandemic has caused some pause, and many of us have created new diversions, but once we reach the new normal that we've been talking about, exactly how it is, we really don't know.
What is also very important and makes it such a lovely place is that dynamite fishing is not
non-existent.
allowed. It was enforced. In other places it's forbidden as well, but here it was really enforced. So the corals are really in a good shape.
But is there something that you wish to do immediately once everything has become more settled and ready for travelers, divers, and tourism again?
Of course, I'm eager to dive again, and it was always for me, or my biggest motivation was to show people the beauty and the wow of the Camiguin underwater world.
I'm sure over the months and years you've fallen more in love with the destination.
Only allow me this little story. During my dive master training, one morning, we have heard from fishermen that they have seen manta rays in a dive site close to Mantigue Island.
Okay.
And so we went there quite early, and we went down on this underwater reef shoal, Korea's shoal, and the dive started. No mantas, but with a pressure shark. So I said, well, this was already worth the trip, and everything was fine. Then all of a sudden 2 manta rays flew by, and we were completely overwhelmed. And when we thought it couldn't get any better, than our guide by that time became big eyes and he showed us shark, and he pointed upwards. And during our safety stop and on the surface, we had 3 whale sharks playing around with us.
No?
I'm still getting
gave me goosebumps, man.
Exactly, and still when I'm telling this story, I'm still getting goosebumps myself.
Look at that.
I was flashed for about 1 week.
It's not stopping.
It was really, really
wonderful
fun.
story. And
so
that will make you come back.
Oh, for sure. It's really, there's always room for the unexpected, and simply
Beautiful story. Thank you very much, Axel.
You're very
for
welcome.
this time,
Thank
a
you for
beautiful
giving
morning,
me the chance to tell
and
you.
you'll have a beautiful future.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
So we're off to the White Island. I think this is really an icon of Camiguin Island, and we're going to catch sunset in that area. So we'll see you in a bit. We're now off to the White Island to catch sunset. Just docked here in the White Island. Waiting for sunset. We are on the White Island and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is gentle and so is the breeze. The sand cool to the feet. This is a vanishing island that changes shape depending on weather and tide. But locals would tell us that it's always shaped like a letter C, and they believe it stands for Camiguin. Island is the most iconic natural attraction in the province of Camiguin, not only for its white sand and its turquoise waters, but also for this important mountain range that you see, with Mount Timpong, Mount Vulcan, and Mount Hibok-Hibok. Visit to the island offers a unique encounter with nature. May it be sunrise or sunset, of every day. Camiguin's underwater paradise is truly breathtaking, and a special group of divers enjoy it through breath holding or free diving. Others call it skin diving. So we're here in Kurma Free Dive Camiguin, and we're joined by the dive shop manager, but I think he's more of the main instructor in this resort. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Robert Garcia. So, Robert, because we know what scuba diving is, but this little knowledge I have about free diving, what really is free diving?
So it's still diving. The biggest or the main difference would be that there's no tank. So we go underwater without air. It's more of a physical discipline, I guess, and also it's a sport. So bigger than recreation. It's like from normal what people experience with scuba diving is.
Yes.
They go in the water and then they experience the outside, the fish. What they do with free diving, where it's more internal actually, because like you have to start with your body. It's not just like strap a tank on you and then you can go down and enjoy. You have to learn how the body works so that you can hold your breath and then go underwater.
Wow.
So
That sounds very complex to me.
It sounds, it is, and there's a lot of science behind it.
Exactly.
But the real kind of essence of it is that the body is just, it's something that the body just does, and we just explain it, and then it's surprising how easy.
And then
the
how often
course-
do you do that?
So for example, like me as an instructor, like I had to go through all the different levels of certification to understand like the different.
So there is some sort of discipline in
Absolutely,
it.
like there's different disciplines in terms of how you go down, how deep you go, but the biggest would be the safety part, like the why we take the courses actually is because imagine I'm asking you to hold your breath and go underwater
I
to
can't-
hit specific depth.
Wearing a mask is almost
There you go, and then we're holding our
Make it
breaths for level 1 for example is 1 minute and 30. Level 2 is 2 minutes 30. Level 3 would be 3:30. But then it's not about that number. It's about understanding what your body's capable of in terms of holding your breath. And then we enjoy the internal feeling.
So this is a lot, exercise on breathing or not breathing?
Both, yes. Actually,
Okay.
so we do exercises for breathing, so that your breathing muscles basically are more flexible or more stronger.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also need to do the breath hold exercise.
A lot of people say, why do that? You can always strap a tank and complete and then enjoy.
Right.
So
At the end of
this
that
is
year, I
a
was
good
able
sport
to
for
compete.
introverts,
Actually.
but you're not. So.
No, but there are a lot of free divers who are very good ones that are introverted because of they're able to focus.
Okay, so why are you in Camiguin?
So I was born in Manila, raised in
Yeah.
Manila. I grew up there, school, everything
Yeah.
worked. I guess after so many years in the corporate setting, I was just looking for a short break
Yeah.
or a slight change in lifestyle. And then after I moved here, it was just
You found
fell in love.
outdoors?
I know it sounds cheesy, but I
No.
fell in love with the island and the sport also. So with free diving, it kind of drew me in even more.
You also do yoga classes.
Yes.
Is it part of the course or a separate activity?
So it's a separate activity, but it is tied into the free diving. So you can imagine with how you're holding your breath and the physical discipline of it is attached to your mental state, like hugely. Like some free divers would say it's 60% mental, 40%
I would like to think
physical.
so. Post-pandemic, is this something that you envision as part of the growth of your enterprise here and your passion and the whole of the island as a destination for travel?
So I'll start with for the diving.
Yeah.
Like the plan right now is basically to get everything ready for if and when it does, or when it comes back, right? So just equip everything, make sure everything is maintained. The restaurant, we will keep, it has to keep the theme of the food, and I think this specific kind of, it's a niche market sort of for us, but being in Camiguin allows us to kind of explore more of it allows the tourists actually to explore more of the island and then understand what is Camiguin, not just the diving. So because it's it's a beautiful island.
It's a beautiful island. And I'm sure you do a lot in terms of
Sustainability.
Sustainability. Because like, you know, when you go out there, you bring your boats and things like that. So it's just part of the learning experience of your students and of course Purma itself in protecting the environment.
Absolutely, and especially because we preach what we talk about, like free diving being more attached to nature. There's no equipment or minimal equipment, and so all of that kind of ties into the environment. Going back, same thing with the restaurant, for example. Pandemic, when everything closed down, we could keep the kitchen open because it's so local, homegrown. We plant our stuff in the back that we put in the kitchen, so it's another part of sustainability that we're trying to achieve. So it's a continuous process, and we will keep doing it. Again, it's a struggle right now, but I don't see it being insurmountable. We will get through this.
Well, I like that optimism. Maybe that comes from not breathing for a long time.
Possibly. Like you're so used to not having air.
Thank you very much, Robert, for the insight.
You're welcome.
Sharing your experience. It's something to think about. Probably we'll enroll one of these days.
Hopefully.
Daghang salamat.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before going to Mantigue Island, we decided to stop by this mangrove forest. I'm now in the midst of age-old black mangroves. And this reminds us that we really need to take care of nature so that we can enjoy it, at the same time, nature to take care of us. What a surreal feeling it is to bathe in this forest of close to 180 century-old mangrove trees. We're leaving for Mantigue Island. We're supposed to take a speedboat. It found out that it's good that we're using a regular pump boat that travelers and tourists use. Our boatmen are very happy that they finally are bringing guests to the island right now. So I'm with Joyce. Hi Joyce. And JC. Hi. And we're going to that island that you see, the small dot. We'll be there in a few minutes. So enjoy the ride with us. We are here in Mantigue Island and it's 7:30 in the morning. The sun is up and it's fierce. It's going to be a great day. And we're just 3.5 kilometers away from mainland Camiguin in this 4-hectare property of greens and white sand beaches. Just several meters from the wide beach, we are now in the middle of a forest where age-old trees and foliage are home to birds and other animals. Let's walk and discover more. So we're walking back to the other beach because we just went through the forest and then just wet our feet here, but we're going back to the beach really facing the island. So I'm taking a dip here in Mantigue. You can see the water is so clear, and let's see what's underwater. It has been an incredible experience showing you the natural beauty of Camiguin with its volcanoes, waterfalls, beaches, flora and fauna, hot and cold springs, and islets. Next, we shall show you the heritage, culture, and history of the island. Daghang salamat, and this is Mindanao Roadtrip.